This video stopped my scroll. It's by Leonidas, and the second I saw it, I had to know how it was made, so I rebuilt it from scratch in DaVinci Resolve Fusion. And in this video, I'm showing you exactly how. You'll build a full particle system, work with duplicate and instance nodes to get that expanding circle effect, and animate everything in the Spline Editor for that smooth, satisfying motion. This is not a beginner tutorial, but build it with me, and I guarantee you'll walk away a better Fusion editor. So, let's get started. First of all, drag a Fusion composition from the effects panel onto your timeline. Right-click the clip and choose Change Clip Duration. Switch to the Frames tab, set it to 200, and click Change. Now open the Fusion page, grab your reference video from the media pool, click the left dot so you can see it in the left panel, and you're ready to go. Drag a background node in and connect it to the media out. Select the background and change the type from solid to gradient. Set both color stops to black. At frame 0, keyframe the gradient, then move to frame 48 and shift the right stop to a grayish blue. Adjust the two handles, one to the top right corner and one far to the left. Go to frame 49 and set the second stop to a semi-dark blue. Then go to frame 65 and make it a bit darker. Adjust the start point slightly. Now we have a flashlight effect. Go back to frame 0 and keyframe start and end to anchor the starting position. Then go to frame 110 and drag the end point down. Then to frame 199 and drag the end point to the left. This slowly rotates the gradient direction across the full animation. Now, let's create the white bottom line. Move the media out to the right to create some space, then add a new background and set the color to white. Connect a rectangle as a mask to the blue input. Select the rectangle and set width to about 0.19 and height very thin, around 0.002. Zoom out and check how it looks. I think it's a bit too thick, so set height to 0.001. Now look where the line animation starts in the reference. Something around frame 35. Keyframe the level of the rectangle at frame 34 and set it to 0. Then at frame 35, set it to 1. Go to frame 50 and set a keyframe on width. Then go back to frame 35 and set width to 0. Now the line grows in. For a smooth motion, open the Spline Editor. Deselect the level spline. Select all keyframes with CMD+A. Right-click in the Spline Editor and apply Ease in Cubic. Adjust the handles like mine. The animation now starts slow and gets very fast at the end. Add a transform between the white background and the merge. Move the pivot point to the left edge of the line just around 0.4. Now we can rotate the line from this point. At frame 50, add a keyframe to angle, then go to frame 100 and set the angle to around 51. Go to frame 95, add a keyframe on level, then at frame 100 set level to 0. Now the line rotates and disappears. We also want a little downward movement, so go back into the transform node and add a keyframe at frame 50. Then move to frame 100 and move center Y down. It should look something like this. But the motion isn't smooth yet. Open the Spline Editor, deselect Angle, select all with CMD+A, right-click and apply Ease in Cubic. Then select only the Angle spline and apply Ease in Cubic as well. Adjust the handles. Now we have smooth motion. I noticed the animation started a bit too late, so copy the width keyframe from the rectangle at frame 50, paste it at frame 48, and delete the keyframe at frame 50. Do the same in the transform node with angle and center Y. Now let's create the light. Add a new background and set the color to white. Take its output and drag it to the existing background node so you get a new merge. Add a polygon as a mask and delete the existing keyframe. In the viewer, draw a trapezoid. Drag the corners until the shape looks good. Change the background type to gradient. Drag the start and end points so black is at the top and white is at the bottom. Select the black stop and set alpha to 0, then do the same with the white stop. Go to the polygon node and set level to 0.2 so it's more transparent. Also increase soft edge for softer edges. Now let's animate the light. Add a transform node between the merge and the background node. In the transform, deselect Use Size and Aspect. Set a keyframe on X size at frame 35. Go to frame 48 and add another keyframe. Then go back to frame 35 and set an X size to 0. Open the Spline Editor, select X size, select all keyframes with CMD+A, right-click and choose Ease in Cubic. Now let's animate the flicker. Keyframe the level of the polygon at frame 75. Move one frame forward and set level to 0. One frame further, back to 0.2. Frame 82, 0.2. Frame 83, 0. Frame 84, 0. Frame 85, 0.2. Frame 86, 0. Frame 90, 0. Frame 91, 0.2. Frame 92, 0. Frame 93, 0.2. Frame 95, 0. Done. Go to the background node and move the black stop a bit to the right. Then adjust the polygon until it looks right. Go to the merge node and set blend to 0.8. Move the background and polygon nodes up and add a neo glow. Add it under the other background node as well. In my opinion, it's the best glow you can get, and you can find it linked in the video description for free. Move the media out and the reference video to the right to create more space. Now let's add the circle. Add a new background, connect it to the output of the merge so you get a new merge, and set the color to white. Add an ellipse as a mask. This becomes the circle. Deselect solid and set border width to 0.001. Then in the height field, type an equal sign to open the expression box, hold the plus icon, and drag it to the width field. Now width and height are linked, so the circle always stays perfectly round. Set width to 0.031. Move the circle under the line using center Y. Go to frame 48 and set a keyframe, then go to frame 70 and move the ball up. Open the Spline Editor, select all keyframes, apply Ease, out Cubic, and adjust the handles. The ball is still visible under the line, so add a rectangle node and connect it to the merge. Go to frame 48 and position the rectangle exactly under the line. Then in the rectangle settings, enable invert. My light ended up a bit too high, so I moved the black stop further to the right. Adjust yours until it looks right. Play it back and check if something's off. In my case, I'm happy with it. Now let's build the particle system. Hit Shift plus space and add P-mitter, then P-friction, then prender. P-mitter into P-friction, P-friction into prender, prender into merge. Then you get a new merge. Select prender and look where the particles start in the reference. They start at frame 48. Then change global in to 48. Select P-emitter, go to the region tab and set size down to 0.006. Single emission point, all particles fire from one spot. Back to controls. Set number to 25 and keyframe at frame 50. Go one frame further and set number to 0, keyframe. So you get 3 frames of burst, 48, 49, 50, then it stops. Set lifespan to 40. Expand velocity. Set velocity to 0.07 and set angle to 90. Now the particles are shooting up. Angle variance to 120. That variance spreads the particles into a wide fan. Without it, they'd all shoot in exactly one direction. Select pi friction and set velocity friction to 0.1. This slows the particles down in movement, so they stop. Back to P-emitter. Set velocity variance to around 0.125. The velocity variance gives each particle a different starting speed, so they spread out over time and end up at different stages of their journey simultaneously. That's what makes a particle system feel alive, rather than mechanical. Then open the Style tab. Change type from point to blob. size to 0.2047, size variance to 0.1131. The size variance means every particle has a slightly different size. There are a bit too many particles, so change number from 25 to 15 at frame 50 where the keyframe is. Under fade control, set fade out to 0.056. Particles dissolve at the end of their life rather than blinking off. Scrubbing through until the size looks good. Back to controls. Still too many. Set number from 15 to 10. Random seed to 15800. Every seed reshuffles the entire particle layout without touching any physics. Now let's organize the node graph. Select everything except the media out, then press Shift plus space, search for underlay and add it. Rename it with the F2 key to section 1 and set the color to orange. Now let's make the light flicker. For this, go to the Merge node, open the Settings tab, and find Blend. Keyframe it to flash this layer on and off. Frame 75, blend 0.205. Frame 76, blend 0. Frame 77, blend 0.205. Frame 82, blend 0.205. Frame 83, blend 0. Frame 85, blend 0.205. Frame 86, blend 0. Frame 91, blend 0.205. Frame 92, blend 0. Frame 93, blend 0.205. Frame 94, blend 0.205. Frame 95, blend 0. The irregular gaps between keyframes are what makes it read as a glitch rather than a regular pulse. Now go to the rectangle mask and look in the reference when the line disappears. This is at frame 100. Go to level and set it to 0, add a keyframe. Then go to frame 92 and set level to 1. Now it slowly fades out. After that, move the ellipse and background nodes up to create some space. Between background and the merge node, add a transform node. Then move everything back down. Organize the nodes again. Move the underlay node to the left so only the line and the light are covered. Move all the ball nodes to the right and the particle nodes to the left. Then reconnect everything. Select transform, move to frame 75 and set angle to 0 keyframe. Then go to frame 98 and set angle to 180. The circle is rotating with a bit too large a radius, so move the pivot point up a bit, something around 0.55. Now for a smooth motion, open the Spline Editor, select all keyframes, then right-click in the Spline Editor and choose Ease. In Cubic. Also adjust the handles a bit like mine, so the animation starts very slow and gets very fast at the end. Copy the ellipse node and paste it with CMD plus Shift plus V as an instance. Connect its output to the ellipse, then de-instance level and set it to 1. Also de-instance solid and set it to solid. Now look in the reference. When is the ball fully visible and when is only the outline visible? Then animate level on instance ellipse. Frame 97, level 0, keyframe. Frame 98, level 1. Frame 101, level, match it to the reference video, around 0.5. Frame 102, level 1. Look where it is fully invisible in the reference video. At frame 120, it is invisible. Set level to 0. The instance appears, dips briefly, then snaps back to full. That subtle drop creates a flicker within the reveal. Move all the nodes up and add a duplicate node between the background and the transform node. Set copies to 1 at frame 97, keyframe, then increase copies to 4 at frame 98. Set angle to 90, 4 copies arranged 90 degrees apart. Then go to the pivot settings and increase Y pivot to around 0.598 until all the circles are perfectly on top of each other. Now let's animate the 4 circles coming out of 1. Select the ellipse node at frame 98, center Y to 0.59. Then look in the original video where the animation should stop, something like frame 120, and increase center Y to around 0.68. The animation looks a bit flat, so open the Spline Editor, select the last 2 keyframes, right-click in the spline graph, and go to Ease. Out Cubic. Now the animation starts fast and slows down at the end. Much better. Add a transform node between the duplicate and the existing transform. We need this new transform to rotate all the circles together. We could use the other transform, but we'd have to change the pivot, so it's easier to add a new one. Open the new transform and set the pivot until the X aligns perfectly with the circle. Then set angle to 0 and add a keyframe at frame 98. Move forward to frame 120 and rotate it until it looks like the original video. Open the Spline Editor, select all keyframes, right-click in the Spline Editor. Go to Ease and apply Out Cubic. Adjust the handles a bit. Now the rotation also starts fast and slows down at the end. Back to the ellipse node. The circles are a bit too far apart. Go to frame 120 and decrease center Y slightly. Now it looks better. Copy the entire particle chain and paste them as a second independent system. Take the output of Prender and connect it to the merge, so you get a new one. Then look at what frame the particle animation starts in the original video. It's around frame 98. So go into Prender and set Global In to 98. On the new P-emitter, we need to move the number keyframes further along the timeline. We can do this with the keyframe panel or manually like we do here. Set number to 15 at frame 100 keyframe. Move one frame further and decrease it to 0. Then delete the other keyframes at frame 50 and frame 51. Set angle variance to 360 and angle to 0, so particles spray outward in every direction. The number of particles is still too high. Decrease it from 15 to 10. Play around with these settings until you like it. Then go to the Style tab and adjust the settings there too. Something like this looks good. Select the ellipse node. At frame 130, add a keyframe on center Y. Then move 30 frames forward to frame 160 and set center Y to 0.85. But the background of the circle mask is now too small. The circles will get cut off. To fix this, select the background node. Go to the Image tab and increase width to 1351 and height to 749. This keeps the ratio but makes it a bit bigger, so the circles won't get cut off. Now set center Y to 0.85 and keyframe it at frame 160. Now select the transform node. Go to frame 160 and set angle to around 133. Open the Spline Editor. Select the two last keyframes and set Ease to In Cubic. Edit the handles slightly, then close the Spline Editor and play it back. Then go to frame 199 and set angle to 182. Open the Spline Editor again, select the last two keyframes and set Ease to Out Cubic. Pull the handles slightly like mine. Then play it back to see if it looks right. The circles are a bit too close to each other. So open the ellipse node and increase center Y slightly at frame 160. Then go to frame 199 and increase center Y to around 0.97. Open the Spline Editor and select the last two keyframes. Set Ease to In Cubic. Then select the two keyframes in the middle and set Ease to In Cubic as well. Close the Spline Editor and play it back. Something isn't right. The balls are moving up when the rotation has already stopped. To fix this, go back into the Spline Editor and set the ease of the last two keyframes to Out Cubic. Now it looks much better. To create the line between the circles, grab a background node and change the color from black to white. Then connect a rectangle mask to the background. Set border width to 0.001 and uncheck solid. Now disconnect the merge node, move all the nodes up, and move the particle nodes and media out to the right to create some space. Then reconnect the merge in between again. Go to the background node, open the image tab, uncheck auto resolution, and set width and height to the 1024 so you get a perfect square. Back to the rectangle, then link height to width so they always stay equal. Decrease the width and add a transform node between the background and the merge node. Now adjust the width and the angle in the transform until the corners are exactly in the middle of all circles at frame 130. Then keyframe both width and angle. Go to frame 160 and do the same. Then one last time at frame 199 until the corners are perfectly centered on the circles. Open the Spline Editor. Select the first two keyframes. Right-click in the spline graph and set ease to in cubic. Adjust the handles. Then select the last two keyframes. Right-click and choose ease out cubic. Switch to the transform node. Select the first two keyframes and set ease to in cubic. Slow start, fast end. Then select the last two keyframes and set ease to out cubic. Starts fast, slows down at the end. Play it back. You will see that the corners are not always exactly centered on the circles. To fix this, go to a frame where it doesn't match. Open the Spline Editor and adjust the handles until it's right. With Command held down, you can move one handle without affecting the other. Do this wherever it's slightly off. Then it should look something like this. Now to make the corners disappear behind the circles, copy all the circle element nodes and paste them. Delete the instance ellipse node and set the regular ellipse to solid. Sort the nodes so it looks clean. Connect the output of the transform node into the mask input of the merge. Then select the merge node, go to settings and check apply mask inverted. Now all corners should be gone. Play it back and watch in the reference where the rectangle appears. Go into the merge settings and set blend to 0 at frame 157. Keyframe it. Move one frame further and set blend to 1. Now the animation is finished. Now let's do some pre-animation styling. Press Shift plus space, add Neo Glow after the background to create a light glow. Then apply motion blur on every node that is moving, the transform nodes and the ellipse nodes. This creates that professional-looking blur when something is moving. I wouldn't do it this late in the process, but to be honest, I almost forgot. Now organize all your nodes with underlay nodes, rename them, and give them some nice colors. I also noticed something during playback. The circles stop for 10 frames from 120 to 130, and it doesn't look right. So select the ellipse node and delete the keyframe at frame 130. Then open the Spline Editor. Select the two middle keyframes and set ease to in cubic. Now you have this cool intro animation. I hope you learned a lot from this video. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next time. That's it for this one. See you in the next one.